Going to the movies is a very common thing. It's exciting seeing all the people in attendance for a premiere. The viewers have their hopes that their money will be well spent on a great film. The crowd draws the book lovers who hope the movie follows it to a T, the casual viewer, and the family going for an outing. The movie's about to start. Time to lay back and relax. Gone Girl unearths the secrets at the heart of a modern marriage. On the occasion of his 5th wedding anniversary, Nick Dunn reports that his beautiful wife, Amy, has gone missing. Under pressure from the police and a growing media frenzy, Nick's portrait of a blissful union begins to crumble. As his lies, deceit, and strange behavior has everyone asking the same dark question: did Nick Dunn really kill his wife? The major difference between books and film is imagery. Visual images stimulate our perceptions directly, while written words can do this indirectly. Reading the description of Amy's tragic disappearance requires a kind of mental translation that viewing a picture of this scene doesn't. Film is more sensory experience than reading. Besides verbal language, there is also color, sound, and movement. Yet film is also very limited. For one thing, there is no time constraints on a novel, while a film must generally compose itself into 2 hours or less. Turning a novel into a screenplay is not just a matter of pulling dialogue from the pages of a book. In novels, we often come to know characters best not through what they say, but what through they are thinking or what is said about them in narration. A narration facilitates the meaning of what we read through his or her point of view. Film relies on the use of voiceovers, but generally the director, cast, and crew must rely on other tools of film to reproduce what is felt, thought, and described on the pages.
In the movies that were in the books were the little subtle moments. One really great example is Margot and Nick's interaction in the bar. In the opening few chapters, when Nick is in the bar talking with Margot, his sister, Margot throws down a glass of beer, and Nick looks at it and sees that the glass is dirty. And Margot picks up the beer and licks the glass clean and sets it back down in front of him and says something like, "There you go, my prince." And it really shows the dichotomy of their relationship and kind of how Margot feels inferior, but they're still very playful and very close. And in the movie, they didn't show that part, and I thought it was a really great scene that shows the siblings' relationship. So obviously a movie can't have every single detail that a book does, but certain ones like that, when they're omitted, kind of detracts from the characters.
I think the recession, being an element of it, but I think really I don't think it's as big of an element as some people would like to imagine it is. I think their characters would be a little stronger than circumstance would allow. And since all the events take place so far after the recession, I think the general feel of it would be more just the apathy of long-term relationships.
One thing that I noticed or was able to pick up more in the book was the setting. In the movie, you see that Amy and Nick are living in this big extravagant house And you know that they're leasing it because later on in the movie they show a screenshot of them in front of the house with a for lease sign in front of it. But in the book you really sense that there is a lot of poverty in the area. For example, there are multiple instances where Nick talks about houses on the street being vacant, mansions, and even one point where a vagabond was living in the house and he went and tried to give the guy food, but he had already fled.
I think that in the movie version would be what I liked more because it showed more strength towards her character. It shows more of the manipulative nature and to be engaged in such an action before killing someone. And it also represents a real lack of soul or empathy.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to look someone in the eyes before you kill them takes a lot more than to kill a sleeping person.
Mm-hmm.
At least from personal experience.
It would be very similar to the book. There are lots of movies that I've seen that have had screenwriters and directors that wrote the book, and generally those are very, very similarly aligned.
Gone Girl's film adaptation was a success. Although the movie had some changes, it followed the overall plot of the written story. So, how faithful to the original written work should a film's version strive to be? That's up for you to decide.